How's it going, everybody? Andrei from CFX Films here, and I got another fun tutorial for you today. And this one's actually going to be written in C#. So I know a lot of you guys have been requesting that, and I've been using a lot of Unity script and JavaScript, but since that's becoming obsolete with a future update of Unity, I thought I would start sticking to more C# and transitioning over and helping you guys with that coding language rather than another. So what is this tutorial? Well, as you can see by the title, it is pretty much a NPC chat system. So the way this is going to work is I have this simple scene here. You can see I have this guy who's giving a thumbs up. He's happy to be here, except he's frowning. That's just the sci-fi male soldier, I think, from the, he's just on the acid store, he's free. The background's from another pack. I forgot what it is, but it's there. And basically, this is going to be simulating a player walking up to an NPC character, pressing E on the keyboard, and it'll load up a dialogue window with the NPC saying something, and then you can choose a response based off of the displayed buttons. And I'm going to create a sub window for each possibility. So we're going to have the initial dialogue, and then we're going to have a sub window for different dialogue options and how he'll respond depending on what you press. So we're going to jump in here. I have this scene already kind of built, and really what this is, I mean, this is just, you know, the scene with the model. I put the camera. There's nothing specific about the camera settings. That's why I'm kind of leaving this up to you guys. This project will be available for download for free. I won't have this scenery here since that's not free, so I'm not allowed to give that out. But I will provide this guy, and all the camera settings and everything's all going to be in there, so you guys can download it for free and have this in your own projects, and everything's prefab too, so should be fine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the dialogue window, which is what is going to be popping up when you're actually talking to the character. Now I have this already pre-built, and I'm going to show you basically all the components to it. It's actually really simple, and there's only going to be 3 buttons, which is this left, up, and right. And I'll show you how we're going to use them. So the canvas settings, you're going to go over to canvas scaler. Always make sure you're on scale with screen size. That way, depending on whatever monitor you're using and any resolution, it actually scales these properly, so it's not, you know, cutting off or looking off scale. So we're going to change this match to 0.5, which means it's always going to try and find that average middle ground between the height and the width of the screen, which is really helpful. I have the reference resolution to 1920 by 1080p, standard HD. You guys can have it to whatever you want. You could have it 1280 by 720p, which that is a 16 by 9 screen ratio, I believe. So 16 by 10 is a little bit taller. So 16 by 9. And in the actual window, the canvas, I have basically the back panels. So I can, here we go. So the back panels is just this top and the bottom. They're really just there for show. You don't need them, but I have them there just because they make it look a little nicer. And the chat text, which is whatever the NPC says, it's all going to show up on this top section. So that's why I have this there. Gonna keep that blank for now. And then 3 buttons, up, left, and right. These are just standard buttons. And we're going to have functions to, attached to them that are connected to the script. I have a simple animator, and let's see what the animation is. And all that is just a simple starting animation. So whenever you load up the screen, it's just going to play this little bubble, sort of bouncing, enabling effect. It's just detail. You really don't need it. It's not actually important at all. That's just all for my own little details and things I like to add. So now we're actually going to get to the fun part, which is the script. And all we're going to need to make is one script. It's going to be very simple, just with several different functions allowing for the different variations of the dialogue. And I have already made a script here called NPC, but we're going to remake it, and I'm going to walk you through it. So we're going to call this, NPC tutorial, not tutorial or whatever I said. Let that enable. We're saving down here. All right, cool. So we're going to add this to the main camera, and now we have it on there. Great. So we're going to load this up, and now we actually aren't going to need too much in here. So up here, we just got to make sure that because we're using UI, we want to be making sure that the script is actually going to be recognizing the canvas objects. So actually, let's start with the variables. Now we're going to have quite a few, but I'm going to try and organize this. So in the inspector, you're going to have them organized in sections, and it'll actually display it for the user. And I'll show you what I mean. We're going to be using headers. So if you're not familiar with headers, you will now. So we're going to create a couple booleans. So we're going to call this in range. And this is basically for to be enabled when player is within range of NPC. In chat. Nope, not for. False. And this is to be enabled and disabled when in and out of chat window. We're going to have in dialog 1, and this is the starting window. And now we're going to have the subtrees. So if you press the left button, it takes you to the first sub menu for the left button that you click. And then we're going to have the same for the up. In dialog up subtree. And you could have as many as you want, depending on how deep you want the conversation to go. All right, time for a header. So a header, let's do header. We're going to call this objects. Yeah, that's good. And don't worry, for some reason the coloring is messed up on my mono develop. Visual Studio did this too, so I apologize for that. Don't worry about the colors. Trust me, it's right. So public, we're going to do a game object NPC window. This is what's going to be enabling and disabling whenever you're actually talking. So this is just literally the canvas that's going to enable and disable. We're going to have a chat text, which is the display on the top, what the NPC is saying. Then we're going to have left text, up text, right text. Now we're going to create another header, and we're going to call this one all possible dialogue options. And this really, again, is just for our own organization. And we're going to create, let's do string greeting. So the actual message that the chat text is going to say. And let's create another header. And this is going to be dialogue 1. So let's do public string left 1, public string left response 1. So what he says when you click left 1, public string up 1 response 1, public string right 1, public string right response 1. And now we're going to copy and paste this so we don't have to type it again. We're going to call this dialog 1 left subtree, and then we're going to just do left 2. Change these all to 2. We're going to copy this again last time, and we're going to do up subtree, and then we're going to call these 3. So now we have separate variables for each of the options. Yep, that looks good to me. Now in start, honestly, by default, for the purpose of this tutorial, enable chat window. So we're just going to make it so by default you're in range of the character. So if you really wanted to, you could add this to a player controller, so it will only enable when you're actually walking up to an NPC and in range. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to make it so you're already there and the camera's already standing in front of the player. Now we're going to go to update, and we're going to make just a simple input function, get key down. We're going to say if you press E, then what do we want? Well, first of all, got to make sure it only loads if in range and not already loaded. So we're going to do if in range is true and not in chat, which means if we're not in chat already. So NPC window dot game object dot set active true chat text dot get component text is going to equal whatever our greeting was. So that could be whatever you want, but instead of making this just a string here saying blah blah blah, we would only be able to change that if we were in the script. So in order to make it so you can change it whenever you want, that's why we set it to this public variable that can be accessed through the editor and not just in the script. And then we're going to have it load dialog 1. So that's going to be loading the initial dialogue. So it's red now because we don't actually have it written. But don't worry about it. Now we're going to do it. So first set of messages. All right, this is going to be void since there's no return. Load dialog 1. And now we're going to do in chat is equal to true. So as it loads, then you're set into chat, which means this is not true, or this is true technically, and this will not actually load it up again since it's already loaded. In dialog 1 is true since it's common sense. And now dialog left subtree equals false. In dialog up subtree equals false. Left text dot get component. Now we're setting it to the actual buttons. So what do we want the buttons to say? And now we're going to do copy and paste this. And now we're going to have this to up text and right text. And now we're going to do up 1 and right 1. And that's all we need. So it's actually going to be displaying everything we need for that first dialog window. Now we're going to change this. So we're going to have, this is the first set still. And when you hit the left button, what is it going to say? So we're going to do load dialog left subtree. Oh, first I'm just going to get rid of that. And this is false. Actually, no, we're still in chat. So this is going to be false. And this is going to be true. And now we're going to set these all to 2. Because that is what we set up here. Remember, left subtree is all the 2s, and then up is all the 3s. So that's how we're organizing it by number. And that's actually all we're going to need for that. So now let's do the second subtree. So let's do second set left button, and then we're going to do left subtree 2. All right, and we are going to make in dialog 1's false, that's false. So they're all going to be false since none of these are true, which means it has to be, by logic, it has to be in left subtree 2. And technically, that what I'm saying is not exactly true, actually. By definition, logically, you wouldn't actually be in left subtree 2, but for this specific case, because there's literally no other option that it could be, we're having it, if it's not in dialog 1 and it's not in left subtree 1 and it's not in up subtree, then it has to be in left subtree 2, which is the way our logic is going to work. So it's just one less extra variable than we need. So there's always one less extra variable than the actual number of windows. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, then in this case, we are going to change, we don't need to change the right text, since the right text is going to be our goodbye. We just need this to be blank. So basically this means that there are no more options left to press. So if the button is out of options, so if you can't click it and have the guy respond and say anything else, we just want it to be left blank, which is why we're doing that. So all the second sets are going to be this, where you're letting the text be blank. So now we're going to create the top button. First set, yop, top subtree. Okay, now we're going to change this to true, this to false, And now we're doing the 3s, like we said before. And now we are going to copy and paste this second set top button, and they're all false again. And actually it's the same function. So if you really wanted to, you could just use the same function, but we're creating separate ones for, in case in the future, if we wanted to actually change what each one said when you ran out of options. So that is actually changing the text in the dialogue. Now we actually need to write the function for when you click the left, up, or the right button. So we're going to call this buttons. So if the player presses the left button at any point or in any window, we want to public void left. Now public makes it able to be seen by the editor. And in the inspector, so we can actually assign it. If we are in dialogue 1 and you press the left button, that is not how you spell dialogue, in dialogue 1, we want it to chat text get component text dot text equals left response 1. So we want, if you press the left, we want it to respond accordingly. And load dialog left subtree. There we go. Now we're going to do an else. If you're not in dialog 1, if you're in dialog left subtree, then we want it to be left response 2 and load subtree 2. And then else, if you are in up subtree, we want it to be 3, and then we want it to be we want it to be the up subtree 2, because if you click the up, now it has to check, okay, if you're pressing the up button, what did you press right before this? So if you pressed the left right before you press the up, it means that we're no longer in the first dialog window, but we're in the first sub window, which means now I have to check what are the first sub window options. And that should be it for that. So now we want to make another one, and we're going to call this if the player presses the up button at any point or in any window, public void up. Now, if we are in dialog 1, we want it to do what? Well, we want the chat text get component. If I'm typing too fast, I'm trying to save time for you guys, so I'm not having some 60-minute tutorial. That's why I'm trying to make it go fast, but explain as much as I can. So if you really want to go back, you can skip back and watch it again. But I'm trying to make sure that I'm not wasting any of your time. Up response 1. And then we're going to do load dialog up top subtree. I just realized I called it top subtree. It should be up subtree. So let's go and check. This should not be top subtree. It should be up subtree. Keep it consistent. And now we're going to else if in dialog left subtree, we want it to be up response 2 and load left subtree 2, which means we press the up button first and then the left button, and then else if in dialog up subtree we want to do chat text dot not get type get component text dot text up 1 response 3. That should be right. And now we're going to do load dialog up subtree 2. That should be right. Now, here's an easy one. Right, since technically for this example, I just wanted to basically close the window, we're going to have closed dialog. That's all it's going to be. So now let's just write close dialog, close dialog. So what does it do if you press close dialog? Well, NPC window dot game object dot set active is equal to false, and in chat is false. All right, that should be all we need, honestly. Let's go check and see if we have any errors. No, we do not. So let's go ahead and actually fill in these variables. So let's check, what do we got here? Let's do the dialog window for the NPC window. Chat text, properly named. Left, not left button. Up text, left text, and right text. There we go. Now the greeting, let's do hello there. The left one is going to say, who are you? He'll say, I'm an NPC. The top button will say, where am I? We'll say, you are inside Chrome FX Films' tutorial. Right is going to say, goodbye. And he'll say, talk again soon, but technically you won't hear it because it'll close. So what we would really want is him to actually have a voice that actually says, talk again soon. We can play an audio file, but in this example, just keeping it all consistent. So if you click the left button, the next set of options will be, what is your purpose? And he'll say, to demo this NPC tutorial. And then if you say, am I an NPC too? He'll say, no, you are a human. At least I hope. Right 2. See ya. It's just another form. Talk again soon. He can say whatever you want. And the next, should I subscribe if you hit the top button? So yes, subscribe to Chrome FX Films. Should I like, comment? Yes, like and comment on this video. Well, you have to do what he says. Ciao. Talk again soon. All right, let's test it. Let's disable the window first, and let's see what happens. All right, so it loads up, but nothing should happen because I didn't set the buttons yet. So let's go to the buttons. We have up, so we're gonna drag, actually we're gonna select all 3. We're gonna drag on click. We're gonna set it to camera. Up is gonna be set to up. Left is gonna be set to left, and you guessed it, right is gonna be set to right. Now let's run it again and let's see what happens. All right, hello, spaceman. E, hello there, where am I? You are inside Chrome FX Films' tutorial 1. Okay, I didn't exactly add that exclamation point at the end. So, should I like and comment? Yes, like and comment on this video. And you can't click it again because it's disabled it, knowing that there are no more possible options for this dialog window. Ciao, let's try it again. Hello there, it resets, like we said in the script. Who are you? I'm an NPC. Am I an NPC too? No. You are a human, at least I hope. See ya. And let's try one more time. Where am I? Should I subscribe? Yes, subscribe to Chrome FX Films. Well, you heard him. So, with that said, thanks so much for watching, guys. Here is a basic NPC tutorial. Feel free to use this and modify it. If you know some C#, you can easily do that. All the functions are self-contained, so it's very easy to manage and doesn't hurt your frame rate at all. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, the download link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.